everyone, and welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. So today we will be discussing two articles. The first article is from The Hindu, which is titled as Regulation Redux, which basically talks about the environmental impact assessment notification rules which have been brought recently in 2020 and what are the repercussions of these newly brought rules. And the second article is again from The Hindu, which is titled as Diagnosing Gestational Diabetes. So with this, we will understand as to what do we mean by gestational diabetes and what are the impact and who amongst the population is impacted the most by the gestational diabetes. And finally, we have the news and flash column for our prelims exam. So if you're preparing for CLAT, that is for CLAT 2021 or 2022, please have a look at the Project Maverick, which is LawSikho's CLAT prep course. It is a very nominal course for just ₹100. You can enroll yourself right now. Also, you can participate in the CLAT daily quiz from the Hindu newspaper, which we go live on every morning 9 a.m. on our LawSikho CLAT prep channel. The link to this channel is there in the description box. It is a very good quiz, even if you're preparing for some other examinations as well. So this is the multiple choice question from yesterday's discussion. Which of the following country is not a Quad member? Please mind, is not a Quad member. Your options are Australia, India, Brazil, or Japan. With this, let's see what is the descriptive question for the day. Discuss in detail the draft Environment Impact Assessment Notification 2020 suggests the administrative reforms required for protection of environment. With this, let's discuss the first article, which talks about the new rules which have been brought by the EIA rules 2020. So basically, the Supreme Court has sent a notice to the center on a PIL that has been filed to set up a national environment regulator under the Environment Protection Act 1986. Basically, there are some issues which are involved with the draft Environment Impact Assessment Notification 2020. So firstly, let me explain you what do we actually mean by the EIA rules. So as the name itself is suggesting, environment, impact, assessment. So basically, if there has to take place any kind of activity, let's say, for example, some mining activity has to take place, some forest has to be cleared, some industry has to be settled in a particular area. So what would be the impact of that particular economical activity on the environment? That would be assessed, and upon that assessment report, that particular factory, that particular project, industrial project would be either allowed or it would not be allowed. So basically, the environment impact assessment is very much necessary if at all any huge project has to be set up wherein there are any risks of putting up any dangers or any impact on the environment. So recently in the year 2020, the environment impact assessment was revised, and thus we had in hand the draft environment impact assessment notification 2020. But this has been a lot into controversy due to the following reasons. Then firstly, it virtually eliminates the civil society roles. Now, who at all are the civil society? You, I, and all of us who are the participants and citizens of the country, we all form what we call as the civil society. So basically, the EIA notification 2020 has virtually, in a way, eliminated the role of us as the members of the society. It privileges the ease of doing business. Now, by ease of doing business, what do we understand? So basically, the World Bank brings a complete report, which is the ease of doing business report. So according to which the situations, the conditions in a particular country, the environment of that particular country is assessed as to how much is it hospitable or how much is it welcoming for setting up a new business. And it was observed that the environment impact assessment was a big hindrance. If we talk just about the economical activities, so it was a hindrance for setting up or bringing in the new business projects. And that is why, to give more privilege to the ease of doing business, the environment impact assessment rules have been diluted, or they have been made less stricter with these 2020 notifications, and thus it has given, the only privilege has been given to ease of doing business. Rather, what is the ideal situation? The ideal situation is that there should be the right balance between economy and ecology. But in this situation, all we can see is that we are giving privilege only to the economy and not to the ecology, which definitely in the long run is not at all sustainable in its nature. Then it does not encourage public participation. So earlier what used to happen was that if, for example, any particular decision was taken under the EIA notification or EIA rules, so there was some limited time given to the public for complete participation and to give in their what we call as to give in their views about that particular decision. So why was it important? It was important because the people, let's say, who were the environmentalists, or maybe the people who live in that particular local area where this particular project has to be brought in, so they could raise their concerns if at all they had any. But now it has completely brought down, or it has discouraged the people or the public participation, as even the time period which was there available with the people to participate in this decision making process has been brought down to severe to a very less time period. And then the independent scrutiny of proposal is weak. So what happened is that the scrutiny of this proposal, as in the whatever decisions have been taken or whatever changes have been brought up in the EIA notification 2020, even they have not been scrutinized to a very good level. And thus any rules which are just discussing about the economy and have completely avoided the balance between economy and ecology have been completely ignored in this notification. Then secondly, there is lack of credibility of the EIA process. How? The reports produced with dubious expertise and manipulated data. So many a times we are seeing that whatever reports that are being presented by the notification of 2020 notification, either they are dubious, that is, they are just made, they're just fixated by just whims and fancies. They are dubious in expertise, or also many times it is just a manipulated kind of data. And then the authorities ignore communities' interest and are ill-equipped to assess the loss of biodiversity. As we just said, that the authorities in the current situation are just, the only thing that they're concerned is with the economic growth, and they're completely putting beside or putting behind the ecological balance. And specifically, if we talk about after the COVID-19 scenario, wherein the economic activities had been brought to a severe halt due to the lockdown, definitely the most of the focus currently of the authorities and the government is on bringing back the economy and bringing back the GDP which we were earlier generating. But that doesn't really mean that we should be completely ignoring the balance between economy and ecology. So these are the steps needed in this direction. The government must acknowledge conflict arising from pressure on scarce land and ecosystems from pollution project. So definitely there definitely is a conflict. Now conflict is between the less availability of land and also the ecosystems from pollution project. So thus a good balance has to be maintained, because see, there are various zones of the environment which are very very sensitive, and we really, as responsible citizens as well, and as being the part of the biodiversity itself, we really cannot afford to lose these sensitive zones. For example, wetlands, which actually are very important for the ecological balance of our earth. So that is why the right balance and must be drawn, and the conflict which arises should be first acknowledged and then addressed. Then administrative reforms are also required. We should smoothen the multi-department process in assessing project proposals, and we should produce a white list of lands for industry reclaiming polluted areas. So definitely there should be some specific lands that should be allotted for the industrial growth or industrial plants, and the others which are sensitive zones should be kept completely apart. So here you can go through this. The earth sciences, the life sciences, and the social sciences, they all come together and all have some or the other part of the environmental impact assessment. Now, this is a very good infographic. You can go through this, which completely explains the EIA impact, EIA draft notification for 2020. So you can go through this. It's a very nice one. With this, let's discuss the second article for the day, which talks about the gestational diabetes. So nearly 7 crore adults in India are diagnosed with diabetes, and half with pre-diabetes. By pre-diabetes, we mean the symptoms which will in a certain period of time will lead towards the diabetes, the problem of diabetes. So type 2 diabetes is the most common form of diabetes which is existent amongst the people. So what is gestational diabetes? Basically, gestational diabetes is a transitory form of diabetes. Just a second. Is a transitory form of diabetes developed by a pregnant woman due to diabetogenic stress. All right. So you should know that what do we mean by gestational diabetes? It is a transitory form. So transitory means which can move from one generation to another, from one side to another. So it is a transitory form of diabetes developed by a pregnant woman. Please consider it must be a woman due to diabetogenic stress. So it is associated with increased risk of complications during pregnancy. So there can be other complications also that can be brought up due to this kind of diabetes in the pregnant women. Like for example, we have the preeclampsia. So it actually fits during pregnancy. Then a prolonged and obstructed labor, need for assisted delivery, postpartum hemorrhage or sepsis, stillbirths, premature delivery, neonatal deaths or hypoglycemia or birth injury. So there are various kinds of risks that are involved in the pregnancy, if at all that pregnant woman is suffering from gestational diabetes. So here is some relevant data regarding this. According to the International Diabetes Federation, 25% of pregnancies in South India may be affected by hyperglycemia. And then if we specifically talk about India, then 10% of the rural population and 30% of the urban population suffers with this particular problem, and which is 27 to 30 lakh women develop it each year. So it's a very huge number. Then half of the women with gestational diabetes develop type 2 diabetes within 10 years without preventive care. So if at all they're not taking any preventive measures, so the type 2 diabetes will be developed within 10 years amongst half of the women. So child born are also at high risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular diseases as well, if at all the mother is suffering with gestational diabetes. Then lack of public awareness and low awareness and capacity within health systems for testing and care is the major issue. So why at all? What is the real reason behind? What is the most important reason behind the prevalence of such high numbers of gestational diabetes amongst pregnant women? Is firstly the lack of awareness, that people, the women themselves, they're not able to understand as to they're suffering with this particular kind of problem, and low awareness and capacity within the health systems for testing and care. And if at all they know about it, they have a doubt about it, so it becomes very difficult to completely test this particular problem and also to take care of these kinds of issues. So, several academic associations have recommended observation of a National Gestation Diabetes Awareness Day on 10th March. So what is the impact of addressing the gestational diabetes? First, it will have impact basically on three levels. Firstly, lower maternal and newborn morbidity and mortality. So if at all we are able to understand and stop and control the gestational diabetes, firstly, we will be able to have lower maternal and newborn morbidity. That is the deaths at the time of giving birth to the child, of the mother as well and of the child as well. So these number of deaths will reduce. Secondly, reduce the risk of future diabetes and cardiovascular diseases amongst women. And thirdly, possibly break the chain of diabetes begetting diabetes by addressing transgenerational transmission. So as I just said, that it is a kind of a transitional disease also. So it will actually reduce the risk of transferring of these the diabetes from one generation to other, if you're able to control it in that particular generation itself. Let's see what do we have for news in flash today. Non-lapsable fund for healthcare. So the Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister, has approved the Prime Minister or Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Nidhi. So let's understand what do we mean by the Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Nidhi. It is a single non-lapsable reserve fund for health from the proceeds of health and education cess levied under Section 136B of the Finance Act 2007. So the administration and maintenance of the fund is entrusted to the health ministry. So this should be kept in mind. All right. So this is an infographic about it. It is associated with the Ayushman Bharat as well, National Health Mission as well, Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana as well. So various of these schemes have been associated with the Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Nidhi. So this was all for the day. Thank you so much for staying tuned with LawSikho. If you wish to download the PDF of today's slides, you can join our Telegram group. The link is there in the description box below. Thank you so much.